Okay, so this is Better Than the Original, a workshop on how to approach covers and make them your own. So this is the fourth workshop in a 4-workshop series for New Zealand Music Month. This workshop and the last one, these workshops kind of build on each other. The first one was Singing 101, so vocal technique. The second one was songwriting. The third one was performance ready, how to take a song from learning it to the stage. And this workshop is the covers workshop, and so we're going to be recycling some of the terms from the prior 2 workshops. We'll go over them again, but maybe not as in as much detail, so feel free to reference the prior workshops. The live streams are on Maggie Coco Music Facebook page, and they will be up on my Patreon and on YouTube from next week. All right, so let's start with how to start. Start at the beginning. The first thing you should do when you are trying to figure out how you're going to do a song is to strip it down to its fundamentals. When you like a song, part of what you like about it is probably the way that you heard it performed in the first place, right? But in order to do an authentic cover of that song, you can only be inspired by that version. You can't be taking that version you can't be taking on that original singer's style because it's not authentic to you, right? That version already exists. To do a good version of a song, you have to figure out, how do I take what I love about this song and bring it out in a way that is authentic to me, right? So as we've discussed with our songwriting workshop, your sound is a combination of your unique instrument, your strengths and limitations. I include the limitations. Please see the exercise about turning your limitations into strengths that we did with the songwriting workshop. Your limitations are just as useful as your strengths, particularly for creating your own version of things, right? And then we'll kind of get into how that is in a minute here. And all of the things that have ever influenced you. Right? So 2 people are listening to a song. They're not picking up the same things in the song. Even if 2 people like a song, they don't necessarily like a song for the same reasons. And those things that draw you to music that you like are going to come through in your authentic covers, your authentic version of a song. Okay? So we're going to use me as a you're gonna dissect me, basically. I've done a handful of remakes of covers of songs, some of them well known, some of them less known, but all of them quite different from the original. And you'll hear how I make them work for me, just to give you some ideas. Okay, so first thing is to strip the song down to its core. And what I mean by that is, take the original singer's voice out of it, right? Can you hear the song sung in your own voice at its best, right? So can you hear your best self in your head and sing along with that, all right? So your best self is not going to have the same tone of voice as the original singer, is not going to potentially sing it in the same part of their body, so have the same placement. So that's reference to Singing 101, is not going to be drawn to the song for the same reasons. So when I write music for guitar, I'm very lyrically focused. All right, I'm using the guitar more as an accompaniment instrument for my voice, which is my primary instrument, than as a feature, right? So someone who is a guitarist first is going to approach and end up covering a song very differently than I would, as they should. You want to lean into your strengths, right? Okay, so so strip the song down to its core. So let's review. Its core is its melody. So do we recall the phases of song development from earlier? There's 3 phases of song development. This was from the performance ready workshop. First phase is melody, what you're singing. That's pitch and rhythm, right? Singing the right notes at the right time. The second phase is execution, right? That's anything physical you need to do to optimize or stop doing to hinder yourself. All right? And the third phase is interpretation, how you connect to the music and how you choose to convey that to the audience. All that you might have in common with the original is phase one. You might have more than that in common, but all that's necessary to have in common is phase one. This right notes at the right time. And even that, there's flexibility. As long as it's still identifiable, more or less, as the same song. That's all you've got to keep, right? The execution, how you're doing it, right? There's going to be a certain amount of objectivity to that, like, are you executing it well? And then there's subjectivity to that, like what are your placement choices, right? This is a singing approach, right? What are your placement choices through the mask, or what is your tone choices on the guitar, right? What patch are you using on the piano, right? So that all falls into that department. So that's style, right? Nope. And then phase three is interpretation. So that's how you connect to the text and how you're conveying that to the audience. And of course, that's going to be different for every single one of us, right? And that's going to be one of the things that informs and makes our approach to it unique. All right, so that's the main things that I want us to keep in mind when we're doing covers. Okay, so now I'm going to play some songs for you. And what I'm going to do, if we're able to...
This isn't connected.
Oh, no.
Did you knock the Bluetooth off your phone?
It is, yep. Yeah. Bluetooth's off.
Sure, what's wrong with it?
Okay. So what we're going to do is I'm going to play a little bit of a song over here. You'll have to come up here so it can hear you on the thing. You'll be like teacher's pet sitting right there. So I'm going to play a little bit of a song for you, and then we're going to play the original so that you can compare them, and then we'll break down what I did differently and how I kind of came to those decisions. And just keep in mind, in retrospect, it's a lot clearer what I did differently. When I'm putting together my cover, I'm doing it more by feel. Okay? So.
I see a red door and I want it painted black. No colors anymore, I want them to turn black. I see the girls go by dressed in their summer clothes. I have to turn my head until my darkness goes. I see a line of cars and they are painted black, with flowers and my love both never to come back. I see people turn their heads and quickly look away, like a newborn baby, it just happens every day. I look inside myself and see my heart is black. I see my red door and it's heading into black. turn a deeper blue. I could not foresee this thing happening to you.
Okay, so show of hands if you're familiar with the original song, Paint It Black by the Rolling Stones. Okay, good. So we don't need to play that one. Everyone knows that one. What's different? What's different about it that you noticed?
It's not, your version is not a rock version.
It's not a rock song anymore.
No.
Good, okay.
And some you've done as a soloist, both an instrument and with the singing.
Yep, so one instrument, one voice, right?
You've changed the vocals and the guitar.
Change the vocals and the guitar in what ways?
Not like obviously the vocals you've changed to your own, but the guitar you've made a lot more soft rather than heavy all the time.
Right, yeah, good. So you remember how I said lean into your strengths and your limitations, okay? So my strengths are my voice, sustain, so I want to create a platform for me to show off my voice, right? And so the guitar I use more of as an accompaniment instrument, and for the particular feeling that I wanted to go for, I went back and forth between finger picking and a strumming. And so the majority of it is this finger picking, and I did a little bit of vibrato in there with a yeah, so you give it a little like woo, a little bit of an eeriness kind of thing, which I think that the song, I love rock music, I'll say this first, but there's so many rock songs with incredible lyrics that you don't actually notice because you're just rocking out. And so I like to take songs like that and put them into a setting that makes them lyric forward, right? And so you'll notice that's a part of my style, right? It leans into my strengths as a vocalist. It leans into my, I'm going to say weaknesses as a guitarist, but because I'm not a guitarist by training, right? But what I do is very effective, right? So I'm not a professional guitarist, but I use the guitar very effectively for what I'm trying to do. So my limitation in this way is a strength. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Because I'm not a trained guitarist, I don't approach the guitar like a trained guitarist. So I'm actually going to think to do things with this instrument that a trained guitarist wouldn't, if that makes sense. All right. That said, if a part of your plan is to get better, and you'll see one of the ways that artists evolve and change over time is their skill sets improve and evolve, right? So they get to do more complex and interesting things, so they write more interesting and complex music, or, you know, those things change. Okay, good. What else did I change? I also changed the key on this one, so the original key's down here. See how it doesn't suit my voice in the same way? I see a red door and I want it painted black. Right, not bad, right? Yeah, that's fine. But I chose this one, roundabouts. I move it around sometimes, but.
It's eerier.
A little eerier, yeah? Cool, awesome, nice. Okay, so example one, you're starting to get an idea of how I am adopting songs from different, to kind of suit my strengths and weaknesses. Let's go into a different example.
Another thing you did too seemed to me that, like you talk about the choir, you use a parabola effect Or
I do. So Peter just brought up that I use the parabola effect more. Parabola effect is a term that I use for the natural dynamics within a song. So your often your volume will grow as the melody gets higher, right? So especially a very dynamic melody that has a lot of highs and lows, if you naturally kind of swell and decay with those highs and lows, and then very mindfully do the opposite at certain times, it's a very effective way. And you don't have to do it, you don't have to like lean in very strong. It's just little stuff. Yeah, so there's little ooms in those. Yeah, good. Okay.
My hands wrapped around a stick shift, swerving on the 405. I can never keep my eyes off this. My neck, the feeling of your soft lips illuminated in the light, bouncing off the exit signs I miss. All we do is drive, all we do is think about the feelings that we hide. All we do is sit in silence waiting for a sign, sick and full of pride. All we do is drive. In California never felt like home to me. In California never felt like home. And California never felt like home to me until I had you on the open road, and now we're singing. Oh, 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 oh,
All right, we'll just do that much of that one. So now Mickey's gonna play for us the original. This is a song called Drive by Halsey. All right, does anybody know who Halsey is? She's a pop singer. So imagine like modern contemporary pop.
My hands wrapped around a stick shift, swerving on the 405. I can never keep my eyes off this. My neck, the feeling of your soft lips illuminated in the light, bouncing off the exit signs I missed. All we do is drive, all we do is think about the feelings that we hide. All we do is sit in silence waiting for a sign, sick and full of pride. All we do is drive. In California never felt like home to me. In California never felt like home. In California never felt like home to me until I had you on the open road, and I was singing.
Cool. Yep. All right. So differences between that one and the cover.
More mature voice.
More
That
mature.
would sound like it was for teenagers when you sing it's not for teenagers.
Right, so I have a different tone of voice. My vocal style, my genre is more of like an adult contemporary singer-songwriter. And so my vocal approach and everything is going to be very different to Halsey's. All right, what else?
It almost like a bit airy, like you said, just a bit more airy than that one.
Yeah. So mine was hitting more like a folk version or like a folky singer-songwriter version because of how I was playing it on the guitar. Melody was more or less the same. She does these very particular modern contemporary pop singer kind of offsets to her lines. All we do is strive, all we do is think about the feelings that we hide, that kind of thing. That placement is very different from mine, and she more alludes to the note that she's going to rather than going all the way to it, right? Whereas I'm going all the way to that note, all right? So that's what one of the things about stripping the song down to its basics. I had to be able to hear what was the melody and what was her interpretation. So I took the melody down to just its foundations, right? So, and you can play with that. Sometimes it's hard to tell if something is an embellishment that the singer is doing. So an embellishment is something that decorates the melody, but it's not essential to the melody. Sometimes it's hard to tell if something's an embellishment or if it's essential to the melody. Try taking it off and see if it works. Right? You don't generally want to do the exact same embellishments as somebody else. Embellishments are very personal, and they're kind of an identifier of a different of a singer, right? So you don't want to grab somebody else's style identifiers and take those with you into yours usually, but that's one of the things that ends up defining eras of music. Do you know how you can tell if someone's like there are certain things that clue you into whether something's from the 80s or from the 2000s or whatever. And there's things that have to do with the production and all of that, but it's also like we go through phases of we really like that particular vocal embellishment, and so everybody's of that genre is doing it in every song kind of thing. Will remain to be seen, but I like to think that that I'm very attentive to that, and I try not to lean too much into those kinds of things, so that I'm a little bit more timeless in my approach. But then you have people who are really trying to be here and now, and for it to be obvious, because they're trying to be a billboard to certain people, right? So so just be cognizant of that. But what we don't want to do is to be doing stylistic things unnecessarily, or without awareness of them, right? Your own style stuff, if you take other people's style stuff off of a song, your own style stuff will develop in that space that opens up, all right? Okay. Let's go on to the next one.
Over the mountain, across the sea, there's a girl waiting for me. Over the river, beyond every cloud, she's past the wind that's blowing loud. Over the mountain, a girl waits for me. Tell the sands, every blade of grass, please tell the wind to let my love pass. Over the mountain, a girl waits for me. Tell the moon I'll be tell the birds that fly up high that over and over the mountain my love awaits for me. Into each dark and starry night. Oh, what a mystery that's been sealed so tight. Over the mountain, a girl waits for me. She waits for me. My love waits for me.
Okay. So this is a song called Over the Mountain, and it's from 1957. So I want you to just imagine for a second what you think this song sounds like. This was a popular song in 1957.
Who's singing it?
Rock and roll.
This is Johnny and Joe. Johnny and Joe. I also don't know if they made it across the pond, so we'll find out. All right, so here we go.
Over the mountain, across the sea, there's a girl waiting for me. Cross over the river, beyond every cloud, she's past the wind, blowing loud. On the mountain, a girl waits for me.
Good. Yeah. So right away you can already hear a girl waits. Well, you know, you can already hear like the very like that is 50s, you know, like you can hear the isms, right? The defining. So differences between that one, and you're starting to get a good idea of how I take a song. So these songs that I play, I do a whole show of remakes, and I'll play all of these songs next to each other in that show. Imagine, so you don't have to imagine, I've created a playlist with all those songs on it. Very jarring to go from Halsey to Johnny and Joe to, you know, kind of thing. Right, these songs in their original format don't fit together, but they fit together when filtered through my brain. Right? All right, good. So what did I do with that one? Things that I've changed. The mountain key again, right? Brought it into a key that puts the melody in the sweet spot for my voice.
The rhythm.
The rhythm, right? He's like the over the mountain, da 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 kind of thing. I'm over the mountain, beyond every cloud. Good. So I've changed the key. I've changed the rhythm.
And it seems to me like you changed the duration of some of the notes.
I have. Yep. Yeah. Yep.
You do.
I've changed the duration of some of the notes as part of changing the rhythm. Yes. And so how I came to this one was there's actually another artist that I heard doing it first before I heard the original, and she was doing it in a more R&B style where it was a little bit slower, more at the tempo that I was doing it, and a little bit more in the direction that I'm taking it. And then so I actually didn't start with the Johnny and Joe version. I started with this more R&B version, and then I stepped it into more of a folk version. And folk is just kind of my default genre because I'm a solo artist with one acoustic guitar trying to be portable and make money. So it kind of is just the most accessible thing for me to do in, you know, for what I'm trying to do for this. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Right? So work with whatever you've got. How I came by that kind of more folky feel was just my limitations / strengths as a guitarist, right? Some people find finger picking quite difficult. To me, it makes sense because I think of the rhythm as a grid in my head, and I can kind of see where everything lands. And so when I do rhythms, I can kind of keep track of that grid. So it's actually quite easy for me. I find strumming a little bit more difficult, but it's only because I haven't taken the time to really work out my rhythm hand technique. Right? So it sounds impressive, but it's really just lazy. It's really just what's accessible to me. And that will become part of your arrangements. And people will hear it and go, wow! And you'll know I'm actually quite lazy. But take the compliments. Good, okay. Let's do another one. I did this one for you guys a couple weeks ago. Watch the moment come alive in your hands and watch it slip away once again. Here in the half-light you see yourself too clear until the night comes on and finally you disappear. You're gonna need a lot of hope to get you through the night. Someone that you know, someone that will treat you right. Okay, so that's a song called Half Light by a Norwegian synth pop band called Madrugada. So take a second to imagine what you think that song sounds like in its original format. Norwegian synth pop. All right, and take a listen. Make sure that
Watch the moment come alive in your hand,
so you can't hide your thoughts.
and watch it slip away once again. Here in the half-light, you see yourself too clear till the night comes on and finally you disappear. You're gonna need a lot of hope to get you through this night. Someone that you know, someone that will treat you right. What's the question?
Thank you, Nikki. All right. Thoughts?
Change the key.
Let me see. If I did, I don't remember. What? Nope, same key.
Same key, is it?
Same key.
An octave or two.
Yeah, I'm not singing in the same octave as him, for sure. Yeah, absolutely. But it was accessible enough in my vocal range, so I kept it in the original key.
Okay.
Watch the moment come alive in your hands.
Yours were more softer and he was more sharper with his lyrics, maybe?
Yes.
Yeah.
So the main difference, the thing that I
It was
changed...
quite, you could hear really clearly what he was, and it was almost like he was talking.
Yes, he was more talk
Yeah,
singing.
rather
Yeah,
than
he...
actually this, yeah.
Right. He was more talk singing, whereas I turned it into more of a melody. My actual approach was to make it more of a lullaby. And another thing that I did specifically was that I changed the meter. I changed the time signature, right? So that version you can feel in 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Mine you can feel in 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right? So in songs, the beat is usually divisible by either 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Most pop and rock songs are in simple, this is called simple meter. And lots of lullabies or waltzes are in compound meter, or where the beat is divisible by 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And so one of the things that I noticed when I was listening to the original was that even though the beat is in a solid 4, because he's almost talking it, he's doing it, if you isolate the vocal, the rhythm of his vocal is more compound meter. And again, I like to center the vocal. So I took the vocal out, I dropped the accompaniment entirely, and just created a lullaby type setting in compound meter. Okay? So you can change all kinds of things. So far we've changed key, tempo, rhythms, embellishments, meter. Right? And for each of these songs, I just started with something that I felt drawn to. With that song, for me, it's often melody. It's just how I'm wired. Right? So I was drawn to the melody in this one. And actually, what happened was I had a student bring it to me, and they wanted to sing it for an event. And I was like, that is going to be very hard to learn how to sing, because he's not doing it in a replicable, consistent way. He's just kind of throwing out his vocals over top. The timing is not. So then I was sitting trying to figure out what the timing was, and I was like, the timing is actually of the vocal is more compound meter. So then I created an arrangement for my student that they could replicate. That would make it replicable, right? So that was my entry point to that one. With Over the Mountain, the one that I'd just done, I just started with the chords. And then I sort of just changed the melody to make it fit the chords that the thing that I was playing with.
Over the mountain, beyond every cloud.
So you just need an entry point. It can be anything, right? Anything about the song that draws you. And remember that what draws you to a song is not necessarily what's going to draw someone else to a song, which is going to make it part of your unique version of the song, the things that you highlight. Okay, let's see. What else do I have to teach you? All right. I might actually need to pull up lyrics for this one. Hold on. I should know it, but I don't. Okay.
I see a bad moon rising. I see trouble on the way. I see earthquakes and lightning. I see bad times today. Well, don't go around tonight, 'cause it's bound to take your life. There's a bad moon on the rise, on the rise.
All right. So most people know that one. Yeah, Bad Moon Rising. And you all know that there are some people like, I don't know that one. This is Creedence Clearwater Revival. This is 1970 something. It sounds like this. Hold on. It sounds like...
I see a bad moon rising. I see trouble on the
yeah, everyone's like, oh yeah, no, I remember that one. Yeah. Good. Okay. So, what did I do? How did I change it?
Change the rhythm.
No, but, oh,
Sorry, go on.
to me, that song actually lends it to your style
Oh, thank you.
in a way, because they're kind of, they're like country rock, so you can go into the sort of the country feel and slide into more folky things. So, to me, that kind of suits easier transition
Yeah.
into what you were doing.
Yeah, CCR already has a bit of a country kind of lean, so, and it's got a lot of acoustic instruments, so it's a little bit easier to. I slowed down the tempo a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And use the much softer voice too.
Yes. Yep. Completely different vocal approach, right? Again, I wanted to center the lyrics because that's one of my things. And this song's lyrics are so at odds with its original setting, right? I see a bad moon rising, right? What is it? Don't go around tonight when it's bound to take your life. There's a bad moon on the rise. It's the happiest, most upbeat, beware, don't get murdered song. Like, kind of thing. Yeah. And so I have a story with this song. I'm not going to tell the whole thing. I have told it. You can find it online if you want. But you guys remember the tsunami that was here? Spoiler alert, didn't happen. But we didn't know what wasn't going to happen, so there was like all the sirens and everything like that. And I was stuck in a car trying to get out of the marina and just stuck in bumper-to-bumper traffic. And I was with a group of people, and the people that I was with didn't want to get out of the car, even though on the radio they were saying, get out of the car and start running, basically. And they were like, I'm not going, and I was the person driving. So then I was like, I guess this is how I die, basically. And right after that, this song came on the radio, and I thought it was just the funny, and I was like, well, if I die right now, I will have known that it was funny, like that's nice, and then afterwards I was thinking about it, and I was just thinking about how incongruent the lyrics are with the setting of the song and how upbeat it sounds. And so then I just set about trying to make an arrangement that was as foreboding as the lyrics are, basically. Yeah. Can you hear that rain coming down in the thing? I can hear it. Right. So that's how that one came about. And to make it more foreboding, so you hear that original is that D major, A, G. What I did was just move it to the relative minor. B minor, A regular A, G. I just changed one chord from the major to the relative minor. And slowed it down. That's all I did. And it's because I had an intention. I had a goal. I kind of knew what I was going to do it. I started with the thing that stood out to me, basically. Is that a question or was that a... Oh, no, that's okay. I was like, I just saw it out of the corner of my eye, and I was like, I don't want to miss anything. I just want to make people feel awkward. Okay, good. Couple more, and then does anybody have any questions at this point? So things you can change. So things we've changed already, and that we can change: key, tempo, rhythms, embellishments, meter, the harmonization. We can reharmonize it, right? So change the arrangement. Arrangement / reharmonize. All right. Let's do this one. It's alright if you
not afraid of you running away, honey. I get the feeling you won't. There is no sense in pretending. Your eyes give you away. Something inside you is feeling like I do. We've said all there is to say. Oh, baby, break down. Go ahead and give it to me. Break down, honey, take me through the night. Break down, now I'm standing here, can't you see? Break down, it's alright. It's alright. It's alright. It's alright if you love me. It's alright if you don't. I'm not afraid of you running away, honey. I get the feeling you want, baby. Break down, go ahead and give it to me. Break down, honey, take me through the night. Break down, now I'm standing here, can't you see? Break down, it's alright. It's alright. It's alright.
Okay. Tom Petty. Is everyone familiar
Yeah.
with that particular song? No? We'll play it. Got some people who are not familiar.
It's alright if you love me. It's alright if you don't. I'm not afraid of you running away, honey. I get the feeling you own. You see, there is no sense in pretending. Your eyes give you away. Something inside you is feeling like I do. We said all there is to say. Baby, break down. Go ahead, give it to me. Break down, honey, take me through the night. Break down, now I'm standing here. Can you see? Break down, it's alright. It's alright.
All right. The next section of that song is like a big solo, and then it comes back in, right? So, not a band, right? Solo person. I slowed it down a little bit. I gave it a more of a jazzy, sexy kind of a thing. Again, centering the lyrics. And I changed the melody. No, I'm not afraid of you running away, honey. I get the feeling you won't. to give it like a climax that wasn't instrumental, because the climax is more instrumental in the original, right? So it needed certain things that I had to take out of it for my version, right? So a song still has certain things that it needs, right, in order to be a full journey. You can give it to that song in your way, in a way that it feels appropriate to you. You just need to make sure that it has those things, and you'll be able to feel it. You'll feel that it's missing something, right? So I slowed it down, made it a bit more jazzy. I do it when I am doing it with a band. I do it even slower, right? Because then I've got the musicians to kind of help fill in some of the space, and so it's more. It's alright if you love me, bim, boom, ba-dum, da-da-doo-dum. Lots of space for that to be a little bit of a more an ambient jazz kind of vibe than I'm capable of producing for myself on the guitar, right? Okay, so here is it's the last example I'm going to give you today. So we're just going to do a quick recap, and then, sorry people online, we're going to get into some more people-specific questions. So I'm going to let you go after this quick recap, and thanks so much for joining us. Okay, so tip number 1, strip the song down to its core. Right? Make sure you're not taking any part of someone else's stylistic treatment of the song into your version, unless it's intentional. All right? 2, rebuild in your own image. Right? In doing this, embrace your strengths and weaknesses. Develop your inner voice. Right? So that you're singing along, start to develop a clear idea in your head of what your version of the song sounds like. You don't want to be singing along with someone else's voice in your head, because then you will inadvertently be still trying to sing like them. So you have to take that out, and if you have to replace it with something, replace it with you, right? Also, that can help you to really figure out whether you have clarity on where you're going with the song, which is necessary for getting to the point where you're performing it, right? Over-singing, overplaying, context dependent, but that's doing anything more than you need to be doing to the extent that it negatively impacts you or the music, right? Be a bit of a minimalist to start, right? Maybe maximalist is your style, and that's fine. Build it up, but it can be so overwhelming if you just need one entry point to start. You can build from there. Things that you'll need to develop for your song. You're already starting with melody. Someone else has done that for you. Yay. Execution, right? Anything physical you need to do to optimize or stop doing to hinder the performance, right? And phase 3, interpretation. How you connect to the music and how you choose to convey that to the audience. Thank you. All right. Does anybody have any questions that they want to share for the camera for any of those things? Or for people, for viewers at home?
Just a comment about the inner voice. I mean, about your own voice.
Yes.
You know, I'm not a singer, I play drum. But that's what I notice with a lot of singers. They are just copying. And because they don't have the shape of the mouth, the shape of their throat,
right,
to sing, they're not going to really sound like it. So they're kind of forcing out a sound to try and make it sound like that. They're not using their own.
Right, you're always going to be a second-rate version of somebody else.
Yes.
And you're going to get a bit of whiplash, especially if you're singing covers and then trying to sing like a bunch of other people, and your audience is going to have a bit of whiplash too, right? So you want to develop your own style, and you'll figure it out. But it's a matter of doing, right? It's a matter of figuring out what you're not. Again, refer to the exercises in Performance Ready to figure out which ones are you and which ones are not you. Yeah. Cool. Okay, I think that's all of the content. Anybody? All right, everybody happy? Show me some hands if you're clapping. Yay. Clappy, happy? All right, thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you next time. Happy New Zealand Music Month.